Hi, everyone. How's it going? Dr. Frankie here. And I want to share some exciting news. Our team now has been in Tulum, partnering up with Olivia Travel. So it's my matchmaking team at Little Gay Book. They are in Tulum, Mexico, facilitating singles events for amazing, amazing women who I'm hearing are just having the time of their lives, making all these new connections, hundreds of women, just, making new friends, lots of couples, and also lots of singles that want to want to meet potential partners and also want to make lasting long-term friendships. So we're there. Olivia entrusted us in being there to facilitate interactions, introductions, matchmaking on site, on the spot, in the beautiful sun, surrounded by the ocean, and they're having a blast. So I'm just thrilled to be able to continue to build community, build connections with people who really care about each other and recognize the importance of us coming together now more than ever in support of one another. And seeing women supporting each other is just like, it is so inspiring to me and exciting. And the other exciting thing that's happening right now is this: I just signed on with somebody who is going to support me in having more in-person, up close and personal speaking opportunities, which I'm loving. In the last year, I've done 2 big talks to matchmaking groups, a large, around 200 people, for 2 different organizations of matchmakers that are mostly heterosexual, and they collaborate, they connect in an effort to find amazing compatible matches for their high quality clients. So I got to talk about the ethics around recognizing when somebody is engaging with you or with the matchmaker in a coaching capacity when they actually are dealing with mental health issues and need to be referred to a therapist. And the best way to go about doing that, making sure that they vet the therapist, making sure that there's alignment there, and also recognizing when they are outside of their scope of training and education as a coach, and when somebody really needs mental health support. So that was one talk. And another one was about us focusing on matchmaking in the LGBTQ plus space and how that differs from heterosexual matchmaking and the things that heterosexual matchmakers need to consider when they are working with LGBTQ plus clients, and the kinds of questions they need to ask that are different than their day-to-day questions that they ask their straight folks, and all the, differences around it so that they can be successful if and when they end up working with folks from our community. So we're doing amazing things at Little Gay Book, and we're going to continue to up level and heighten ethics and professionalism and integrity all around, because people need to feel safe, they need to feel supported, and they need to know where to go to find a solid service. And we as a community of matchmakers, it's so important for us to be on the same page in the way in which we function as business owners and founders and CEOs and that kind of thing. So that's an update on what's going on here this week. Every week it's a new thing. So as you know, I love to give you an update. And for those of you that are new to me, new to my channel, this is the place to come if you want to grow yourself, grow your relationships. If you want to get in and get dirty and messy and learn more and get out of your comfort zone when it comes to intimacy, relationships, communication, feelings, wiring, neuroplasticity. I talk a lot about science. I'm a psychologist, clinical psychologist over 2 decades, been practicing as a psychologist, also the CEO and founder of a very large matchmaking firm that's national, that specializes in LGBTQ plus matchmaking. And if you're straight, definitely still reach out to us because we connect with matchmakers all over the country who have different specializations, and we can connect you with the right matchmaker who can serve you best because they're experts in that specific area. So thanks for being here with me today. I hope you get something out of my talk. And for those of you who continue to support me and have subscribed, and new folks, please subscribe. I thank you all for being here with me on this journey. Couldn't do it without you, that's for sure. All right, so this is one of my most favorite topics, which is right now, especially coming out later in life. Today I'm going to cover, it's like a guide for gay and bisexual men. But I'm seeing in the last few years so many more people coming out later in life, which is just, it's exciting to see because it means that we are making progress as a society where people are feeling safer, more accepted, and able to be who they are and live in their authenticity. And we, as we know, the only way to truly thrive in life is being in your authenticity. So we got to be working on that. And this means that we're making progress. We're making moves, people. So with every new Netflix series that revolves around a child coming out to their high school peers and community, it can feel more and more like coming out is a young person's game. And that for the rest of us, it's simply too late. But in reality, many gay and bisexual men come out later in life. More and more every day now, actually. There's no wrong time to come out, and it's never too late. There's plenty of ways to have a successful, affirming coming out experience later in life. And what I continue to hope for actually is that we don't actually have to come out. One day there will be a time when people don't even have to come out at all. They can just be who they are. But here we're still dealing with the idea and the actual reality that you got to come out, right? This is something that's part of the journey. And I want to help you figure out how to do that successfully. Why some men come out later in life. It's common for those of us who come out later in life to feel like the only ones who have ever been in this position. Like we're the last ones to arrive at a party where everyone else already knows each other, especially as mainstream cultural attitudes towards queer identity shift. And many generations seem to be coming out in adolescence or even in childhood. It can feel alienating and isolating to come out later in life. In fact, coming out later in life is pretty common. And more importantly, it doesn't mean anything about you or your life as a queer person. You can have a fulfilling sex and dating life and connections with vibrant queer community no matter when or in what context you decide to come out. Understanding reactions from family and friends. It's always difficult to gauge the reactions of others in our life when we share something like new information about our identity. Like, that's big, right? Fear of a negative reaction or a change to our relationships may well be the reason you haven't come out sooner. The reality is that there's no controlling or managing the reactions of our loved ones to us coming out. They're entitled to whatever feelings they have, from the unconditionally supportive to the selfish and bigoted. At the same time, you don't have to personally engage with or give any oxygen to their reactions. You have the right to set boundaries with anyone about their place in your life, and it's perfectly reasonable to exit conversations, events, and relationship dynamics where you aren't being respected, especially if they're toxic or even if they're abusive, right? We've got to stay in our lanes, and you can't control people. They may have their own issues, they may have their own preconceived ideas, biases, bigotry, all of that stuff, but we got to stay in our lane. So even supportive friends or family members may have questions or be confused by you coming out. They may not understand coming out later in life or have trouble believing you if you didn't have the coming out narrative they expected, or they may, I got early on, which is like, oh, it's just a phase. You're just, curious. So they start to like diminish or minimize or dismiss what it is that you're actually saying, which is something way bigger and way more meaningful. And you need validation, but they are not able to see what you're needing in that moment. It can be painful and vulnerable to have these conversations, especially with somebody like that. Setting compassionate boundaries around what you're willing to discuss and what's private, because sometimes they will be intrusive. They may ask questions that feel really invasive and intrusive. You don't have to answer all the questions. A lot of us like to people please, and we want to give the answers that they want or feel like we owe them something. The fact that you're coming out to them is a gift. You are giving them transparency and vulnerability. That's plenty. Finding your place in the LGBTQ plus community. Coming out can at first feel incredibly lonely, and not just romantically. While you're certainly encouraged to hit the apps or dive into other ways to find a partner, if you're single and interested, finding true LGBT community can be just as important. Some of the ways to connect with gay, queer, and bisexual men in your area or outside it could be, and I'm going to list a few things here to consider: joining a support group or attending a speaker at a local LGBT center, searching for book clubs or reading groups around LGBT themed issues, checking out drag performances or shows in your area, or even becoming involved in the drag scene itself, which is super, super fun. Attending more low key social events at gay bars or cultural centers that focus more on socializing than dancing or cruising. Some institutions host trivia nights or social hours. Consider those. Volunteering for LGBT related causes like a campaign for a gay ballot initiative or Black and Pink. Attending cultural events centered around gay life, like a showing of a queer documentary or a community theater production. Like one thing I just recently saw was Ahead of the Curve, which was amazing, about lesbian and queer history. Joining, and they it's still circulating. I think that I saw them at a premiere, which was incredible. So I want to encourage you to check that out if they're still out and about. Joining or even hosting your own, that's something to do too, where you gather people together. Joining a gay sports league. Mental health and emotional support. Coming out can be taxing, and the resultant life changes can be as challenging as they are affirming. We're often given a narrative of coming out that imagines a clear before and after, where life has become instantly and concretely better after sharing who we really are. While many of us find living openly incredibly refreshing and fulfilling and wouldn't trade it for anything, that doesn't mean it doesn't bring some friction or that the improvements to our life are instant. For some of us, adjusting to living as an openly gay person is challenging because we're having experiences we've wanted for a long time and navigating internalized homophobia while struggling to believe we deserve happiness and we're living our truth. And at the same time, we're stumbling and bumping up against people who are haters, who are trying to hold us back, put us down, insult us, dismiss us, invalidate us. It's hard. So while it's exciting for many, and even it's not mutually exclusive. You can have the experience of feeling excited and invigorated and free while at the same time feeling like frustrated, sad, disappointed, shameful about the other side of it, like the underbelly of it all. Working with a supportive therapist can be incredibly helpful in providing the social support and the tools and strategies needed both to coming out later in life and to living as an openly gay person afterwards. Whether it's setting appropriate boundaries with family and at work, navigating new dating cultures, or becoming oriented to a new sense of self, a qualified and culturally competent therapist or counselor can be invaluable support. Moving forward with confidence, so important. Coming out later in life is only the beginning of something powerful and so significant. Living the rest of your life openly and without apology, amazing. This can be a daunting prospect, though, but can also offer a degree of joy and real satisfaction with your life and relationships that may have felt out of reach previously. With connection to community and a strong social network, as well as possibly the support of a qualified therapist or counselor, you're ready to move forward authentically and with pride. So I hope this was helpful to those that are listening. If this doesn't resonate for you, or if it's resonated immensely, think about who it may impact, who could really hear this message now, today, who might be going through this and could really use something that's encouraging while also holding the truth of the challenges around coming out later in life. So please share it. If you have any reactions, responses, reflections, comment below. I want to hear. And thrilled again for you showing up today with me. Clearly, you want to learn, you want to grow, and you're here because you care. And you're in the right place. Thank you. Take care, everyone. See you next week.